Jean's on first. Hello, Jean.
Hi.
What can I do for you, love?
My marriage broke down. I actually ended up having to leave home for 10 weeks. I became sympathetic with situations and I moved back home and I ended up being the beaten wife. I reported this to the police. They weren't too sympathetic. Then they said, oh yeah, you know, we'll stand by you, we'll help you, we don't tolerate this anymore. Situations got worse and I've had to flee my home for 40 odd years and my children, which aren't young children, they were sort of 16 and 18 at the time, but I had to flee to somewhere else in the country for my own life. Started off quite calmly by just smashing up the furniture, throwing things.
That's what I call started off calmly.
He was a control freak.
So it was his way or no way, was it?
Yeah. And you end up learning to live with that. Everything I did was wrong. The roast dinner, the potatoes were the wrong shape.
So what did he do to you the first time?
He just smacked me straight in the face.
And how did you react?
I burst into tears. I screamed, actually. I've never actually been hit that hard. I screamed. I burst into tears. My daughter came out of the bedroom and she immediately disappeared. She stuck up for me an awful lot. I went to work the next day.
Physically scarred?
To begin with, no. I had a very fat nose.
And you made excuses, did you?
Yeah, before this incident, I spent, I should think, 4 nights out of 7 in the car, asleep in a side road somewhere.
Hang on, you would sleep in the car so as not to go home?
Yeah. And
what would you think, just from his side, not that I have any pity, sympathy or understanding of him at all, but what do you think generated this anger? Was he abused as a child? Was he beaten as a child? Was there some problem with his upbringing?
I don't know. I don't really know what started it off. The only thing I conclude now, he is a control freak. His only way to keep anything in his life is to block everything else out.
How do you feel about him now?
I hate him.
Is he sorry for what he's done?
Not really, no.
Is he married again?
No.
What about your children?
They live with him.
Do you worry that he could be beating them?
No, I don't think he would.
But how would you know if they were being pressured into not seeing you?
He tried that one.
You'd have to hope that 10 years on from when you had these difficulties that the police would react differently today than they did then. I mean, things were always swept under the carpet in the old days. It's hard to believe that even 10 years ago we'd do that, but things have changed, and I know the police now are very keen to react if something like this is reported. Have you thought of reporting it posthumously and going to them now and saying, look, I'm worried about this man's behaviour on my children, and just making a report so they're now aware of his behaviour then?
They won't do anything.
I'm not saying they'll do anything, but at least then it's on record.
It should be on record anyway. I took out a report against him at the time, and I used to have to sneak back and stay with my sister, and I actually met my daughter one night. I said, you know, I'll pick you up in the lay-by down the road. He was clever. He followed us, and he actually kicked in the side of my car.
I mean, the man's a lunatic. Why are you allowing your kids to be with him?
They're of age that I can't stop them. They are both working. They both have their friends, and they feel safe enough.
So why have you had to move so far away that you can't be in the next street?
Because he would make my life hell, and he would run me off the road in my car.
Yeah, but go to the police. Times have changed. Why are you allowing him still to control you 10 years after you left him?
Because that's the way the police work.
No, no, they don't now. Not now. If you went to them today and said that this man that I married 10, 20, 30 years ago is harassing me today, 10 years after I left him, they would take it very seriously.
They won't. I've tried.
No, they will, if it happens today now, because their approach is much different to how it was 10 years ago.
They are not. What are they going to do? If I go back to my hometown...
What do you want to do? That's the most important question, Jean. What do you want to do?
I would like him to have been prosecuted.
Right. Well, that ain't going to happen now because it's too late. What would make you happy today?
To be able to move nearer to my children and my family.
Do it. He cannot touch you. He cannot touch your property, because if he does,
he's in my
the
property.
first thing you do is call the police.
Yeah. I told them what was going to happen before he done it, and he's still done it.
How do you know what he's going to do before he does it?
Because I knew, he told me. He wrote me hundreds of letters telling me what he would do.
I don't believe if you went to the police with hundreds of letters they would not have brought him in. I don't believe it.
Well, they didn't. And they said, it's a domestic, we will support you.
I think you're telling me half a story, Jean, because it doesn't tie up. It doesn't make sense. I've spent years on the radio taking calls like this, and if what you're saying to me is true, it's a nonsense.
I think I'll phone my daughter tomorrow, and I will get her to phone you and get her to tell you her side of the story. And she will prove to you that the police were not there for me.
Yeah, they may not have been, and that's disgusting. But what I'm saying is things have changed. In 2.5 years even, things have changed with the police. When you move into a local area now, if you involve them and tell them what's happened in the past, they will keep an eye on you, and should you ring them and need their help, they'll deal with it accordingly.
Well, I live miles away.
Yeah, because you've run away. But the thing is, this man should not be allowed to push you out of your kids' lives. And he's controlling you still. 10 years after he punched you for the first time, you are still being controlled by him, and it's disgusting. You're a living woman with a brain, a heart, a soul, and emotions, and you should not be controlled by this man. You have nothing to do with him now. You have no reason to see him. You tell your kids when they want to spend time with you, they have to come to your house. You don't go round there, you never have anything to do with him again.
Oh, I don't.
When you move back, you get an injunction that says he's not allowed within 100 paces of you.
That injunction only lasts for so long.
Yeah, because the police can't do it forever. You have to keep giving them evidence that the man's a lunatic.
I had an injunction for 12 months, and he was as good as gold for 12 months.
Of course, they'll get another one.
The day that ran out, he turned.
So the day that ran out and he turned, you should have gone straight back to the police and said, look, this 12 months injunction has run out, and the first day that it ran out, he's now back on the case, and they would have put you in for another 12 months.
Yeah, but you've got to prove that he's done something.
Of course. Of course, because you could be a lunatic making it up. Of course you've got to prove it.
Because I've been there. I know.
Well, okay, what has he done to you in the last 6 months?
The only thing he can do now is phone up. If I leave the mobile on, is phone up in the middle of the night, but he will not speak to me.
Right. Have his number barred by BT.
I will record them.
Have his number barred by BT.
What, to a mobile?
Yes. You're making excuses, love. I'm sorry, but if you cared and you loved your kids that much, you would find any possible way. And it seems to me you're making excuses. I'm not defending his actions. I'm not defending his abuse. What I'm saying to you is, if you want to move back to where you lived before, in that area, to be with your kids, you should be able to do it. The police will defend you, but you have to do it for yourself, because nobody's going to help you.
He can't touch me while I'm here.
Well, how do you know that he hasn't got over it? And perhaps he wouldn't touch you if you were next door.
Yeah, okay.
You're taking the piss out of me, aren't you? You're not listening to a word I say.
I'm not taking the piss out of you.
I've wasted nearly 20 minutes of my show trying to help you, and you're not going to do anything, are you?
I'm moving.
Where to?
A long way up the country, which hasn't pleased my children.
Well, love, I've just wasted in my entire show. I might as well have come on air and gone blah, 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 because you've not listened to a word I've said. I wish I'd have taken a call from somebody who was willing to listen.
All right, go and take one then.
Jean, I can't help you anymore. If you don't want to move back and you're not willing to move back, I can't help you.
Okay then. Have you ever been totally intimidated and frightened where you have to go and sleep in your car?
Let me tell you, when I went to school, I was so badly bullied, I considered killing myself. It gets no more dramatic than that. I know what fear is, I know what intimidation is, and the only way you stop it is by either running away like you've done or standing up to them. Yes, you did. You've run away. You've run away from the bully.
Well, it was a case of either move or end up dead.
It wasn't.
Yes, it was.
You're still alive. His bullying is continuing because you're still intimidated by him. You're still letting him control you after all these years. I bet in a little bit of you, there's a side of you that still loves him.
No, no.
I've done this for too long, love.
I'm waiting for him to die.
Well, you know what? You're going to be waiting a bloody long time, because he may live for another 40 years, and then your kids will be in the 60s, and you'll probably get to your grave before he will, because you'll be so beaten up inside, you won't know what to do with yourself.
I'm not beaten up inside.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
You are the most self-hating person I think I've spoken to, and I mean that in the nicest way. You hate yourself, and he's put that in you because you have such little confidence. You're allowing him to control you, you're allowing him to ruin your life, and moreover ruin the life of your children. They deserve to have a mother, and you've run away.
But they've still got a mother.
They haven't.
Yes, they have.
When was the last time you saw them?
My son is coming down at the weekend.
That wasn't my question.
When was the last time I saw them? Oh, blimey, I saw them...
Exactly.
Christmas, New Year.
Yeah, New Year. Woo-hoo. 3 or 4 months ago. That's absolutely disgraceful. As a mother, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, it's their choice.
No, it's not their choice. You're the mother, you go to them. You need to face it, you need to go back, you need to tell the police, and you need to start living your life happily again. This man has ruined your life for too long, and I don't believe it's as bad as you think it's going to be, because the police will stand by you.
Well, I hope if I need the police, they will.
You know what disappoints me, Jean? You haven't listened to a word I've said, and you couldn't care less.
I've listened to every word.
But you couldn't care less.
The only difference is...
But you couldn't care less.
No, I do care.
No, you don't.
And the only thing that gets me is other people get into this situation, and it's not until it's gone too far that they realise.
Jean, I'm bored stiff with you.
There you go.
I've sympathised with you. I've listened to your story. I've tried to help you. And sadly, you're so self-hating and so self-destructive, I can't help you anymore. I've told you what I think you should do. I've told you the correct way to deal with this situation. Tell the police that you're back. You should be back with your children. You should have a loving family around you, but you seem to be wallowing in self-hatred and self-pity, and it's soul-destroying to me, and it's so sad, and I only pray that one day you can find happiness. Linda's on next. Sorry to keep you waiting, Linda.
Well, Alex, I was listening to that in my car on my way back from being out, and the way you spoke to that lady made my blood run cold, and you know, my heart's still in my mouth beating away.
Well, imagine how I felt, love.
No, you were wrong. Your reaction to her problem was so wrong. You'll never know what it's like. You'll never be that scared.
How can you say that? How can you sit there and judge me and tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about? I wouldn't know what she's feeling. How do you know?
Why would she want to risk getting badly hurt so she's got the proof for the police?
There's no evidence she would get badly hurt.
Oh, please, you've never been in that position.
How do you know what I've been through? You're talking to me as if you're my mother. You know nothing about me.
Alex, you're a misogynist. You're not kind. You should have sympathised with her.
I sympathised for 25 minutes on air with her, and I tried to help her to be back with her children. A mother should be with her children. She made excuse after excuse, and you're so pathetic you've put the phone down. You know, I sit here night after night, and when people call me, I drop the music, which I get in trouble for the next day, to try and help them. And the lady who called me before the news was so self-obsessed, and I tried to say to her, you cannot be in fear of your husband who beat you 10 years ago. The police didn't help her then. That's wrong. Fine. Nowhere in the world is it right. Nowhere in the world do we say life's fair. But 10 years later, the police would protect her. And what I was saying to her was, you should go back to your family, your kids, your 2 kids that you haven't seen since Christmas. But she wanted me to pity her. And that's not what I'm here for. Mary, hello.
I've not been listening to your show. I used to listen to Catholic Gold years and years and years, since I was a teenager. Just recently got to listen. There are people who want to hear what they want to hear. There's people who don't want to hear the truth. I've just listened to your show. I've been through crap life. No worries about that. But you need someone who just speaks straight up truth. If you don't want to listen to the truth, then don't ring it. It's very simple. People need to take a step back from their lives, have a look, and realise what they're doing with themselves, with their lives, and particularly with kids.
Just breaks my heart when I speak to somebody that has got a whole life in front of them and they're wasting it and they're wrapped up in self-pity and the stuff that's gone on before. You know what? In life, we all go through crap. There's all bad stuff going on, but you have to see the positive side and you have to move on. And the 2 positives that come out of her abuse by her husband is that she has 2 beautiful children who are motherless. And that's a shame. That's a shame.
They're going to be affected, and they're going to get married and have kids, and they're going to be affected as well. So you can't be a victim all your life.
Cindy, congratulations.
They can hurt you unless you allow them to hurt you. And listen, the show's great. I haven't, as I said, listened to it for years. I just stopped the last few weeks. It's been really brilliant.
I really appreciate that. Please tell my bosses.
Well, I'm sure they'll tell you.
Thank you, Cindy. Good to talk to you.
And you take care.
See you later.
Bye.
Ta-da, bye-bye. Bill's on next. Hello, Bill.
Hello, Alex. Are you really listening? This woman who was on, I listened to it all there. Have you ever been terrified then of a person?
Yes, I told you I was bullied at school. I was terrified to leave the house.
Yeah. Did you do anything about it?
Yes.
What did you do about it? Because I was bullied at school.
I got a sense of humour. That's what I did about it.
Oh, dear. All right.
Instead of becoming negative and introverted and obsessed with my depression, I turn round and try to make people laugh. And in the end, people go, oh, actually, he's quite entertaining. He might be a big fat pig, but he's actually quite entertaining.
Doesn't that matter about your size and all that?
It does matter about your size when you're at school, because that's what leads to you getting bullied.
But, no. I was bullied
Yes.
No, I was bullied by 3 people at school, okay? And one day I turned up and 2 of them wasn't there. They was off sick. So I sorted it out. That one person, he was on his own and he wasn't so big. And then the next day, he wasn't there. And another boy turned up and I sorted him out. And in the end, they all got their payback.
Do you know what, love? I'm exhausted. I've got to go. It's midnight. It's time for my tablets. And the only thing that's going to cheer me up now is Russell Watson singing. Thank you.